Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here this March the 10th as we spring up and rise up out of the ashes of the yesterdays and the yesteryears. I want to begin by sharing a welcome statement because I believe these words to be true by a gentleman named Larry Ward. Because after reading this in the last week or two, come to realize, and please close your eyes, relax, be comfortable, be safe. Maybe open up your palms as if you're ready to receive a gift, ready to receive whatever energetic communications come to you, whatever downloads are available as you open yourself up to receive, saying, I am open and ready to receive. I am open and ready to receive, and just count those blessings as they come pouring forth into your world. Sometimes not always looking like the best, but as we move through them, as my daughter did, moving through those anxieties and then just opened up to a whole new world, literally a whole new world opened up for her as she had the courage to take the next step. To listen to the messages that we receive when we're in that higher state of consciousness, and then have the courage to work through them, to just take the next step, to listen to what the next step may be. But I want to welcome you, and I want you right here, right now, to realize that as you close your eyes, relax, and open yourself up to the receptivity of oneness, realizing how at home we are in our own skin, and at one we are with ourselves, and therefore at one with the world around us. Your life changes. And Larry Ward, in this book from Thich Nhat Hanh called Together We Are One, says, I want to welcome you to this moment with these words. History is already different because you are here. Your history is changing right here and right now because you take a moment to just be in the silent, to be in the presence, to be in the present moment, to be in stillness, to be connected. The world is different because you are here. The world has already changed because you showed up. Every day that you show up, you change not only your world, but you have a ripple effect on those around you. And I want to offer a special welcome to the precious friend that each of you brought with you. That friend is your in-breath. That friend is your out-breath. I want to welcome that friend, your breath, and encourage you to stay close to him, to stay close to her during our time together. Whatever else is happening, don't lose touch with that miracle of your in-breath and your out-breath. That in-breath and your out-breath is the divine renewing your lease on life. That in-breath, that out-breath is the moment that you realize that all of eternity opens up to you, that you awaken to every moment, that you awaken to all moments. And when you can get lost, or actually unlost, being present in that void, everything opens up. He goes on to say, I want to also welcome your ancestors, the men and women known to you and unknown to you, your ancestors of blood, your ancestors of land, your ancestors of spirit, and your ancestors of the mineral, plant, and animal worlds that are all around us. I want to say that this land, this environment, this moonlight, this sunshine welcomes you. Enjoy. And as I sit in my meditation chair here, looking out into the vastness of the universe, through the woods, through the trees, and into the blue, I realize that everything is available to me in this present moment. Realize this for yourself, that everything is available to you in the present moment when you just stop and breathe. when you just stop and experience the now. Do that. Do that now. Experience now in whatever form it takes, without judgment, regardless of whatever chatter appears. Am I doing this right? Why am I distracted by that bird flying past me? Isn't it wonderful how the wind chimes jingle, jangle? Isn't it wonderful? Why am I in despair? Why am I distracted in this moment? These are all the things that are going to occur. But you want to know what the key to it all is? That you are aware, that you are now conscious of those thoughts, of those ideas, no longer running on automatic pilot. That's the joy of meditation, to come into awareness and to be aware that you are the awareness, to be conscious that you are conscious. Therefore, you are consciousness itself, and therefore you are at one with the supreme consciousness. You may only see yourself as a drip in a stream, but that drip in the stream eventually leads to the ocean of oneness. And just be present to that idea. And even if you drip, drip, drip your way through life, keep showing up in the moment, in the presence, accepting with radical acceptance each and every moment and each and every thought, with the ability to go, wow, that was interesting. Wonder why that idea popped in, and then just wait for the next idea. Yes, eventually in certain moments we go into the vast void and really experience something called nothingness. But the key to the path to nothingness is the awareness of each and every moment. So take a moment now as we go into silence, as we start the silence with the great Om. Let the conclusion of that beautiful resonating sound of the M, the Om, the universal sound of oneness, bring you into your own personal silence as we take a minute. And you'll know when that minute is over as I conclude with the great and glorious Amen. As the Aramaic say, Amen. That agreement that we have, that so be it. So now, take a moment to just be in the silence. Om. And may the light of God surround you, the love of God enfold you, the power of God protect you, and may the presence of God watch over you. Ah. Love you guys.
We love you back, Larry.
When you travel with Amex Platinum, you can get room upgrades at fine hotels and resorts when available, so your trip goes from great to greatest. That's the powerful backing of American Express.
That's funny.
All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That was the Newsboys. Love one another. You know, we like to do it a little bit different, like to mix it up and on our Sunday morning spiritual celebration, because we know that the Spirit wants us to have fun, wants us to laugh at ourselves sometimes, not take ourselves so seriously, but deliver the message at the same time. So the Newsboys, they have a way of doing that. They have a way of just grabbing your attention and, getting the message across. So love one another. That's what we're going to be talking about again this morning. But first of all, I'd like to welcome you again to our Sunday morning spiritual celebration. We are here every Sunday at 11 o'clock for about an hour. I'd like to invite you, who is with us today, to share the link. Share the link, you never know when somebody, I just want to, let me just see what was that Jean sent me the other day? And what is this thing all about? Let me just go check it out. You never know when they want to do that. So share it forward. And I also like to invite you again to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get Larry's message, his meditation during the week when you feel like you need it. I get calls from my clients and they're like on the edge, and I've been able to refer them to our meditation that we record and we upload to our YouTube channel. So join that, subscribe to the channel and share it. Leave your comments too when you're there. This morning, we're celebrating our differences. The differences that we are, the uniqueness which we are individually. We're going to be talking a little bit about that today. And also we're going to be talking about how we're different and unique, but we're also one. So we're going to be talking about celebrating and ways that we can celebrate and honor and embrace the differences, as well as those things that make us similar to one another. And before I get started, I wanted to remind you of our theme or our walking orders for the week, something that we can carry with us and carry forward that hopefully will remind us of today's message and today's discussions. Let me say, it's a quote by Nelson Mandela. He said this, and he said, I quote, "Our differences are our strength as a species and as a world community," end quote, Nelson Mandela. So we are different, but those differences should be assets to us, should give us strength. We're gonna kind of talk about that this morning. One of the things I've learned, through my life experiences and my connections and relationships with a very diverse community. I'm fortunate and I'm really blessed to honestly say that I have a very diverse network of associates and friends, family. And from that diversity, I have gained so much understanding of our species, of just, it's not just all about me and my ethnic group and my community and my family and my state where I live and my country. But I can spread out, I can spread my wings and I can spread, I can pick up my phone and I can talk to people on an island in Jamaica or Barbados, or talk to a friend in the Congo, and talk to a friend over in the Brit, and now, I mean, I'm learning that I have an association or part of a network that extends to the Mideast, to Japan, to the Orient. And I'm proud of that. That excites me. It makes me feel bigger than I am. It makes me feel more than I am. So I appreciate the diversity that we are. And I understand it's not always easy and it's not always comfortable. Because I remember traveling to Mexico, years ago, and I could barely speak the language, and it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. But now, if I go back now, I'm a lot more at ease and a lot more, I don't feel like I'm thrown too far out of my comfort zone. I can converse and get around and do things. So today, what I want to do is I want us to think about the things that make us different, and think about what we feel, how we're feeling when we acknowledge or we're faced or challenged with the differences that we attend to or we're confronted in our relationships and our connections with each other. I want us to think about those, but I don't want us to ever lose the fact that we are alike. And the more I get around and the more people that I meet and the bigger my world really seems to be, I can always touch those parts of us that make us one, that makes us so much alike. So I don't want us to lose that either. But I also want us to recognize, like Nelson Mandela points out, is that our differences could be a strength. They are a strength. And whether we recognize it or not, they are. And I hope after today that you will look at those differences and look at those opportunities when those differences are confronted with you or to you in your relationships and in your associations, and you're getting around and about this beautiful, big, vast, huge world, it's going to be okay. That you'll understand and you'll learn how to manage the feelings that you get from being different or being confronted by differences. So those are the two things that we're gonna get around to doing today. And I want to say before I even get into my little spiel, I want to say that I want it to be open. I want it to be an open discussion. If you have a question or if you have a comment to share or a feeling or an experience to share that comes to mind that you think that would be, I'm going to say that would be of interest to me. I'll tell you now. I don't know about anybody else. I'm going to speak for myself. But if there's anything that you want to share, believe me, I would be totally more than happy to receive it, to hear it, and curious enough to want to understand it, whether it's presented and I don't understand it right off, we'll work on understanding it. So to start off, of course, we are uniquely created. We're uniquely made. And I think I kind of mentioned earlier that each one of us have our own unique receptors or our own antenna, our receivers from Father, from our Creator. We were created unique. We were created with an individuality about ourselves, something that makes us different from any and everyone else. And it's not just, your fingerprints either, okay? It's not just that makes you unique and different. We have so many differences with one another, so many, but those differences have they have a limit. Our similarities, on the other hand, they're infinite. We can go with, there's more things that we are the same about than we are different about. But it is the differences that gives us the strengths, and not necessarily it's not so much the commonalities that gives us strength. It's the differences that gives us strength. And we want to kind of wonder about that today. And I want you to think about when you are confronted with meeting someone that you never met before, how it makes you feel. You can feel excited about it, but you can also feel, and naturally, we always feel somewhat guarded about it. We come in with who we are, and we're okay with who we are, and we immediately form this is just ego. This is the ego that does this. Ego immediately throws up an antenna and starts surveying the situation and identifying what's not the same, what's different about you. And what ego does with that understanding or that knowledge of the differences is it's fearful. It creates a sense of fear, and it moves us out of our comfort zone into like, okay, who are you? What are you all about? You look different than I do. You talk different than I do. You walk around different than I do. You're saying things that I just don't even understand. And ego naturally, that's a natural instinct for ego to throw up that guard, to put up that guard. And ego, unlike our conscious, aware, awakened selves, spiritual selves, ego has only one thing in mind, and that is protecting you and protecting me, protecting us. So ego has a prejudgment that is laid out there, and when we start reacting to the differences and judging and forming barriers or forming boundaries or putting up walls, what does that do? What does that do? It creates a feeling of fear. And so we moved out of our comfort zone. We're faced with relating and connecting to somebody that I don't know. I'm not feeling too safe with what you're having to say. I'm not able to be open enough. I've got to, stand my guard. I can't just let it all, just open myself totally up to you. I've got to, kind of be on guard a little bit. Can't be vulnerable. That's the word I want to use. I can't be vulnerable when I meet somebody new and different. And we really want to ask ourselves why. Why is it that we do that? Why is it that we immediately allow our ego to decide how we're going to respond and react to each other? When we are aware and awakened and conscious, and we know that there are differences, and absolutely are. And those differences, for me, and I might be a little bit out there. Somebody said, don't call yourself weird, but I'm going to say, that might be a little strange, or maybe a little, because I get excited. I get curious about the differences in one another. And I want to know who they are. I want to know what those differences are. And I want to, just learn from them and get to know a little bit more about the world that I didn't know, because, everybody in my family looked like me. Everybody in my neighborhood looks like me. Everybody in my neighborhood talks like me. They go to the same stores. They do a lot of the same things. But when I'm introduced to a different variety or a different diversity, a different ethnic group or a different setting, different scenery, a different area, then it's a little bit different. And of course, I'm out of my comfort zone, but absolutely no growth. And I'm sorry to tell you this. No, I'm not. I'm excited to tell you this. all of your growth, if you're gonna grow and expand, it's gonna be outside of that comfort zone, that guarded place, that area that we feel safe and sound in. The similar, that place where everybody looks like us and acts like us and talks like us and dress like us, smell like us, eat the same things that we eat, that's safe. We know how to do that. We know how to do everything. I know how to do everything my family knows how to do pretty much. But if I go outside of that comfort zone, that's when I expand. I'm isolating and I'm restricting myself to a much smaller world when I'm comfortable, and I refuse to receive anyone into my space, or I refuse to go outside of my space and get to know and to get to experience those things outside of that comfort zone. So I'm going to ask you to think about the things that make you different from, okay, if you go to school, you go to work, you're traveling. What is it about the people that you meet that are different than you that would make you agree with ego that they are possibly a threat to you and that you should be fearful of them? You should be on guard from them. You should, close your mind and already have a predisposition about what they're all about and what they want from you and what they, just all those questions, all those questions, or those feelings and those thoughts that come up and face you when you're meeting someone different or new or not like you. Right? Think about it. Think about how it makes you feel. Think about your feelings. And understand this about your feelings. It's ego. Ego is the first, your ego is the first person, the first character, first personality that someone meets when they approach you or they come toward you. Because ego is always on the job. And ego's job is to take care of you and to protect you. But understanding that its ego is out front, but ego is not in charge. Understand who is calling the real shots. And that's you. That's the aware, that's the conscious, aware, awakened you that gets to say, okay, it's okay, ego. I know this person's not gonna pull out a knife. And I know they say that, I know what you're thinking, that TV tells us that, that people that live under the underpass are probably thieves or murderers or killers or whatever. That's what they look like. But let's take it slow. Let's take it slow. Let's take it slow. Anybody have a comment? I see you, Larry. Yes, Larry. Please share.
So, all right, yeah. What I want people to be aware of, what I need to be aware of as well, is that so many of those fears, I'm not going to say they're not your fault because you've believed them, but let's be aware of the conditioning and the brainwashing, the fear-based conditioning and brainwashing that's been pressed upon us. I had a discussion the other night with some friends, and we were talking about this. And the one thing in I can't say I've studied Martin Luther King Jr.'s life a lot, but I've studied a decent amount. And at the end of Martin's life, the thing that he started talking about was the economic disparity. And what he realized was that the people in power are setting people against each other based on the way they look. And so you have poor Black people fighting against and afraid of poor white people afraid of poor Black people. The Spanish people were now very much afraid of the Hispanic community because of the amount of fear that's been pressed upon us. And if you like I was very, very lucky. Like I was, and it was asked like, well, what did you grow up in? Did you have any diversity in your life? And I was like, yes and no. Because my father came out of New York City, out of the Bronx. And it may have looked different, but then than it did now, but there was still always New York City has had a tremendous amount of diversity. And we would walk down the street and I would go, Dad, do you know that person? Because he said hello to everybody. And he said he grew up in a time when everybody was a neighbor. You just said hi to people. And so, yeah, I see that I grew up as middle class, can be viewed as upper middle class sort of thing from time to time. But I understand the privilege that comes with that, and the privilege, but it comes from economics. It doesn't come from yes, there's an advantage that many of us, I guess, got done taking a whole class in cultural issues at graduate level. So we dove deep into this, you know what I mean? Or, and looked at it. And I understand the advantages that skin color has or has had. But I also look at, like, I went to my recollection was being the only white person on the first swim team I was at, because I was at the Patterson Y in Patterson, New Jersey, and my mom worked out of East Orange, New Jersey. I was born in East Orange, New Jersey, which is right next door to Newark, right? Like and then when we got here to Georgia 10, 12 years ago and walked into the elementary school with my kids, I was like, wow, these kids, they're not, at least I didn't see judgment. I saw kids of all races and all colors getting along together. It's taught to us. It's not inherent in us. You know what I'm saying? And we just have to be aware and guarded of, and also be willing to gently nudge people when they say stuff that's out of alignment, because if we come on too hard to them, they're just going to get defensive. Anyway, I guess I could go on as I usually do, but
It's okay. Good.
it's taught to us, and we this group, like you said, the one thing I've always loved is the diversity of, somehow I end up in just very diverse. It's not by cause. I mean, it's not on, I don't know. It's not on purpose. I just land there and am comfortable there. Let me add one other thing though. The interesting thing that they brought up, at least on an intellectual educational level with regard to cultural diversity, is that we have to be careful of yes, we're all the same, because then we don't honor the uniqueness, right? So we're living in this two worlds. We're all unique, but I love the song. There's a song by a great blues artist named Buddy Guy called Skin Deep. And it's basically, and I would say to the kids when I was first starting in education a lot, the older the crowd you have, the more you can kind of talk to them a little bit, was like, look, if I'm cut, you and I are going to bleed the same color, right? But I also have to be careful of not being too much of like, we're all the same, so that we honor the different music, the different dress, and even through the generations, the dress and the culture and the language changes. And okay, I'll stop. Otherwise I'll hog up.
No, you're fine. No. I wanted you to finish what you were starting there. Because yeah, it's something that you said, a couple of things that you said, and I wanted to kind of, just amplify them. No, we're not, we're different. We're different. And my point today is that your differences, the differences that you are, gives you the strength. gives you the opportunity to grow, gives you the opportunity to realize your potential. It gives us, I always say, I say this to myself constantly, it's not so much that of course I want to be comfortable. Of course I want to feel safe. Of course I want to feel like I'm okay, I'm not threatened, and I belong, and I'm a part of something. So that's, we gravitate to those things that resonate with us. We're comfortable there. But comfortability is never gonna give you an opportunity to grow. It's not gonna give you an opportunity you're gonna just be in that comfort zone and absolutely no growth. You're just content. You're just, egos just have you safe and sound there. But you won't be any more than what you are.
No,
Until we can
we'll never reach any of our goals if we don't get
never
out
reach
of
any of
that
your
comfort
goals,
zone,
because you're right. Your goals,
right?
if you truly have goals, they're outside of that comfort zone.
Right.
They're not in the comfort zone.
And they're different. So they're gonna
And
be
they're-
uncomfortable.
And they're
right?
supposed to be,
We're-
they're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Dr. Dispenza talks all the time about being comfortable in being uncomfortable,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If your spider senses are tingling, yeah, you got to check and make sure you're safe. But what are the chances that a lion is coming down? And if you're not, there was a night where I pulled out into a gas station and someone said, and it was midnight and it was a new town. Someone said, look around. I went, oh, okay, I get it.
I get it.
You just be safe, and then you just walk with confidence that you're walking in the light, and no one touched me, no one harmed me, no one's there, until you show a certain amount of, fear attracts fear kind of thing.
Right. Ego is and like that's that part of us that's conditioned that does its thing. Ego does its thing and does it very well. But again, you're not just ego. You're much more than that. Your potential is much greater than ego could ever aspire to be. Ego is just going to be a protector always. You are going to be, we are, as conscious, aware, and awakened beings, a part of this grand, beautiful universe and world that was created for us to enjoy. We need the differences. We need the opportunity to experience the differences, to understand the differences. It makes us stronger, it makes us better, it makes us bigger. It's just an asset. It helps us with our empathy with one another, our love and our respect for one another. It dismisses fear. The more you allow the differences to challenge you and take them on and overcome them, the differences between one another, it makes us a stronger, a better community. It makes us a better community. Absolutely, without a doubt. We will never grow. We will never grow beyond our comfort zone unless we step out of our comfort zone and be uncomfortable. But you're in control. You can be in control. It's not, it's not just, just you get to decide whether you run away out of fear or you decide not to take on the challenge, or you decide not to, you're just gonna, go with that flow. You decide that, or you decide that you want to manifest, stepping out and across the world, on the other side of the globe at 10, 15, 20, 30 years old, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, that you've never done before. And you get there and you realize, it's okay. I made it okay, safe. It sounds, I didn't know how to read the transit sound signs, but somebody grabbed my hand and pointed the way to me. I couldn't speak the language, but I was still able to get through that first week, that first day. I would love to have your daughter talk to us about her experience, her real experience there. And so we can realize that it doesn't all happen at home in your house. You got to step outside those doors. You got to step outside those walls. You got to step outside the comfort zone to manifest. As you know, everything you need, everything you don't have to worry about manifesting and then just reach up and say, hey, mom, I need this, dad, I want that, it's already there. But to manifest, you have to step outside the comfort zone. Like Father did, like God did, like Creator did. Creator was fine sitting there, all alone. But Creator wanted to experience something bigger and more than what was confined in that oneness, that all compact togetherness. So burst at the seams, came out of that comfort zone. And we may look around and say, what a mess we have. But you know what? That mess is just a bunch of differences that we, as conscious, aware, and awakened beings, part of the species that Mandela was talking about, we're that community. And it's up to us to take on the challenge of our differences. Take on the challenges of our differences, take them on, overcome them, and we will be a much bigger, better community. Minus the fear, minus the judgment, with a whole lot more love, like the newsboys say, love one another, love each other, a whole lot more empathy and a whole lot more respect for one another. And that's basically what we want to do. We want to understand that we're not going to be controlled or ruled by the fear that the differences present to us. That we're bigger and better than that. All right. That's all I have for you today. I appreciate the opportunity to share. And I'm going to ask if anybody else has anything that they want to share with us this afternoon. And if not, again, I'm going to invite you to come back next week and bring somebody with you. Tell somebody about us. And look for us on YouTube channel if you want to get some previous Sunday celebrations, and I look forward to the ones to come. So until next week, I am going to go out with a song. Does anybody have anything else they want to say? Anything they want to share?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. All righty. I'm gonna go out with another, just a really song, and then just gonna let it play out. And I think I might find it here. If I can find it. Yeah, it's called Joy is Coming. And it's let me see if I can get to that. Share my screen with you. Oops, not that screen. That screen.